Okay, Adam Prey here again with the ACD company. So today we're talking about this car. There was some question as to whether or not this car was born with a supercharged engine or if it was added after the fact. So there's some things on all Cords that can kind of lend some insight, can give us some clues as to how this thing was born and then what work was done to it after the fact. And we do that really with every car that comes in here. We evaluate that based on what the customer wants, what the customer needs, to try and help them discern what they want to do and make the best decision for them. So today what I want to do is just kind of show you what are those things that we look at that can provide some clues for us. Also, I want to bring in Lauren into the video. Lauren is our shop foreman, and so he's going to kind of walk us through, show us kind of where we first look, kind of show us that kind of first line that we look at, and then walk through kind of the process as we get deeper and deeper into the car, and what we have seen on this one and what you might expect to see otherwise.
Sure. So one of the questions on this car was it born supercharged or not? So according to the engine number, which will be right over here on the left front, we have, let me get my flashlight here, we have FB2346. So we do have some pretty good documentation in some of our books here.
So this is Josh Mock's book. So most of you know this is like the Cord Bible. All the numbers, kind of the best records that we have available today related to Cords. So that's kind of, everybody's going to use that. I mean, I've heard some people kind of complain it's not as complete as it could be, or there's some things missing. But the reality is, this is what people use when they're, this is what they're going to measure each car against. And so it's always important to look at and refer to that, for every car that comes in here.
So one of the things too that we want to look at, we do have the serial number of the car and the engine number, verify, see if this is the original engine for this car. This one is the original block that came with this car, but we also check serial number to make sure it matches the make and or the model of the car. This one does match everything. Serial number matches, engine number matches. It is a 1937 custom Berline bustle back. So all that matches. According to the engine number, it was born non-supercharged. If it was supercharged, it would have a prefix of FC instead of FB. Back to the car, a couple things that we'll notice that we can verify that with. One, a supercharged block would have a fuel pump provision over here, because a supercharged intake does not have a fuel pump provision. If it was non-supercharged, it would have the fuel pump provision up here on the intake. Someone has added a supercharged intake to this, but the supercharger itself has no internals and had been blocked off and essentially gutted. Another thing.
So tell me about that. So what does that mean? So obviously from the factory, it wouldn't have come with, an empty supercharger.
Correct. So someone looks like they've just added it to make it look like it was supercharged and just took all the internals out, because the block itself does not have the mechanisms to actually make the supercharger work properly. So the impaler, the shafts, gears, reduction drive, everything have been removed, and like I said, they put a block off plate in the bottom. So it's pretty much just an empty shell, just to allow the air and fuel mixture from the carburetor to run through it.
So do you think that there is a chance that the supercharger failed, let's call it 5-10 years, some point after it was manufactured, and then so after the fact they gutted it and put the block off plate? Or do you think it's more likely that it really wasn't born that way, and they just added that for looks? I mean, how do you know?
I think the second one you mentioned, I think it was added later because of the certain aspects of the engine block. Another thing we can look at too, this does not have a supercharged cam in it. If you want to come in here, look down the hole right here on the cam, there would normally be a drive gear for that supercharger, and this one does not have that. So we think that a supercharged intake was added sometime later just to make it look or appear like it was supercharged. The other thing we'll know once we're inside the engine to see if it's got the reinforced connecting rods that a supercharged engine would have. We feel like once we get in there that we won't find the reinforced connecting rods, since the engine number and everything is pointing to the fact that this was non-supercharged.
Okay, so so based on all of this, what it feels like is this was born a non-supercharged car. At some point later in the future, it was added for aesthetics or because it's a more valuable, rarer car. It was a feature that somebody wanted, and so they added that to that.
Sure.
What about outside pipes? Is there any indicators like that we look at, or that you've seen?
Normally, one of the accessories that you could do on a Cord back then, you could take it back to the factory and they would put supercharged exhaust on it for you because it has the desirable exterior pipes that everyone likes. This one, they left the non-supercharged exhaust on. They actually didn't convert it to the external pipes, which is kind of odd.
Yeah, but that may be another further indicator that it wasn't done at the factory like that.
Correct. Yeah.
Whether after the fact or born that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, Lauren, that's great insight. I think it's a good picture of the types of things that we can look for to determine the history, the story, a little bit of this vehicle, and what it looks like is that this car was born non-supercharged, and the supercharger was added later. So obviously we'll have to take that information back to the customer, explain all of that, and then let them make a decision if they want to try to go back supercharged, or if they want to go back to what we feel like the evidence is pointing to, the fact that it was really born a non-supercharged car.
Right.
Still a very special car, obviously, not taking anything away from that, especially as a Berline. It'll be a magnificent car, but we feel like it was born non-supercharged.